Let's bring in Melius Head of Technology Research, Ben Reitzes, who says Google's new chatbot Gemini is evolutionary, not revolutionary, that Google needs to prove that it can monetize its AI technology effectively. Ben, great to have you with us. What does Alphabet need to do here to close that gap in valuation? Can it?
It's going to be hard to close the gap with Microsoft. I look at Google and Microsoft a bit. I try to pair trade them and talk about both. And Microsoft's in rarefied air right now. You know, you got to remember Microsoft's revenue is mostly recurring, mostly subscription, like almost all of it. And in Google, they talked in this call about 15% or so of their revenue being subscription. So the light bulbs come on here and they say, you know, we got to get our subscription revenue going, like Apple re-rated with that.
Right.
Maybe obviously Microsoft's already re-rated. So that would be something that this announcement is aimed at revving up. The subscription revenue is key to re-rating this multiple, and they got to get that recurring revenue up.
So how is this a first step in terms of the packaging of, you get access to this chatbot, to the AI product, you also get free storage. I mean, how does this bring people into, spending more on subscription services from Google?
Well, that's one of the advantages Apple has with its ecosystem is that when you're in the iOS ecosystem, you buy Apple services, but Android, it's a little forked, it's a little fragmented. It's not as obvious to all these Android users to just upgrade to the Google subscriptions, but they need to market it. They need to make sure people are aware of it. I personally think people are confused. I mean, 2 months ago they had an event saying, all these other models, and now they're rebranding it. It feels like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And the other companies in the Mag 7, even Apple, are focused. And we're going to not have as many doubts about what they're doing. Google needs to focus and make sure we know what's going on and increase that subscription revenue.
So, Ben, we've just talked a little bit about this relative underperformance to some of those peers. And when you think about it, on my iPhone right now, I have Perplexity and I have ChatGPT, and I'm paying $20 for both. Now, I'm trying them out. And at some point, I will have Gemini on my thing, too. But can I tell you one thing I'm doing a lot less of? Searching on Google right now. So if you get tied to one of these apps, and it's probably only going to be one of them for most consumers, especially at that subscription price point, that is likely the headwind that I think a lot of investors are focused on as they think about Google. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. The big overhang here is that search is going to be disrupted by AI. We move to and by the way, I've talked to a lot of people. No one exactly knows what it's going to look like, but people think you're going to speak into a phone and get an outcome rather than a search. And Google may be cut out at least a little in some way, shape, or form in that. They need to tell us this year. I'm talking this year. To make this stock really a winner, they need to say, this is how we're going to monetize this thing. And here's the tool, here's how it works, here's how it dovetails right into Google Ads, and then everybody needs to have the aha moment. We thought we had it with the SGE announcement way back, but we still don't know exactly how we're going to monetize it.
So of the different buckets that they have, right, advertising and cloud, and I mean, they do have some subscribers, YouTube, for example, but none of them seem to be sort of hitting on cylinders that others in that particular silo are. And why do you think that is?
Well, I think that actually, YouTube is fantastic. They have...
YouTube is.
But it's not big enough piece of the pie. It's search is what it is. And you got to go into every quarter and build that search business and do it. And, Microsoft's recurring. But, search isn't as recurring. You think it is because they dominate and everybody needs it. But it's not technically a subscription revenue, right? I think in general, the cloud they have is subscale compared to the other two big guys, even though it's huge business, $37 billion run rate. They got to take that margin from 7.6 to like 15 plus. 7.6 is not acceptable. You got to get serious here. AWS is close to 30. Microsoft is able to raise margins almost every quarter. God knows how Amy does it. But that's what you're competing with for dollars. And now you have Andy Jassy looking like he really cares about profits on the retail side, so dollars can go there. So they need to get the profits up there. Other Bets loses about 30 cents a year. A lot of people would like to see that real, like not just announcements. And it feels Ruth's really got to get in there. We got to feel that Ruth's really running with this thing. Look at what Zuckerberg did. Right. You're competing with capital with all these. So when you talk about Google, guys, You got to understand, people are with the Mag 7 to saying, do I put my money here or there? And they got to start doing what the other guys are doing.
So let me ask you specifically about search then. If there is some sort of threat to the search business, how do you think about the addition of subscription revenues versus the loss potentially of advertising revenue? Well, as a push-pull in their business model?
There's no magic model.
Sure, but I mean, in terms of the rates, will it be enough to offset as this transition is happening?
I think the fear is no, but there is also my view that search is going to be pretty stable. It's just a question of upside. You have all the other companies upsiding all the time, but search, the way I read it from Google, they are going to infuse more AI features into search. All this is to augment search. We need to have that aha moment that search is going to keep growing pretty close to double digits so it doesn't drag us down. And we just don't have it yet, or else it would be trading at a premium.